Hello and welcome back to FPL Hacks with me, Holly Shand. Today I'm going to be looking at lots of strategy advice for how we can prepare for a big blank game week in FPL. If you're preparing for FPL Game Week 30 as things stand, do let me know in the comments whether you're going to be playing a free hit chip, taking a hit, or just rolling with the players that you've got available. And if you find the video useful, give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into it. So what is a big blank game week? Essentially, it's a slate of fixtures for any given game week where we've got fewer than 7 fixtures. So you often find that these generally turn up in the later parts of a fantasy season, usually coinciding with the final rounds of the FA Cup. Generally, the quarterfinals and semi-finals cause some postponement for Premier League fixtures. We've also seen in recent seasons that we've seen lots of postponements due to the coronavirus pandemic as well. So when you've reached a set of fixtures where maybe there's less than 7 fixtures, you may have loaded up your team in the FPL website and seen that you've got a lot of players absent, a lot of players on blank. So what do you do about that? Do you use the free hit chip? Or do you potentially take a hit to try and field a team of 11 players? That's the quandary that we have. Now, the free hit chip can be useful in a blank game week. If you've arrived at it completely unprepared, then obviously it's going to help you to navigate that blank game week. But I would always look at the fixtures that we've got available and how many premium players there are available. Because if you've got a slate like we've got in blank game week 30 this season, where Spurs assets Harry Kane and Heung-min Son are the only premium players in the game that are available to us, it's not necessarily worthwhile to use the free hit chip, because we know on paper and from previous seasons that a free hit chip tends to be more advantageous to use in a big double game week than a big blank game week. But obviously, as always, it is team dependent. Now, I personally wouldn't use a free hit in blank game week 30 if I could get away with it, because I don't think there's enough premium players on offer, and sometimes it can be a good idea just to take a few hits to cover the key targets in the game week and save that free hit chip for a bigger double game week later in the season. Because also we often find that some of these blank game weeks can be quite low scoring because the calibre of teams that we've got available aren't the types of players that can get a lot of double-digit hauls. So we tend to find that the scoring is a lot lower anyway. So, you know, that sort of being able to get a gain and an advantage on your rivals by using a free hit chip is minimised because the ceiling is a lot lower. So that's something to consider. Now, there's an analogy among the FPL community that if you're taking a hit, a -4 points hit to transfer in a player for a blank game week, it doesn't really count as a -4, it's more of a -2, because if you're transferring out a player without a fixture and bringing in a player with a fixture, hopefully they've at least got that base of 2 points for playing more than 60 minutes, and anything else beyond that is a bonus. Now, that is relevant and it's obviously very useful if you're planning to play a wildcard soon, but you don't want to destroy the shape of your overall squad just to get 11 players out in a big blank game week. It may be more effective just to cover those key players and maybe only have 7 or 8 players available. But by all means, transfer in players that have got good longer term prospects. So in the example of blank game week 30, we can have a look at the schedule, and teams like Arsenal, Leicester and Spurs have got form, and they've also got some really good upcoming fixtures for the rest of the season. So you're buying those players long term anyway. It's not short-sighted, but it does help to negate those points hits, because if you've got a player not playing versus a player playing, that -4 points hit risk is lower, because hopefully they're going to get you a couple of points from the off anyway. The other big piece of advice I've got is try and make some match predictions and build your squad from there, whether that be on a free hit or without a free hit. So again, in the case of blank game week 30, looking at the fixtures, I think some are easier to predict than others. I think Wolves have got a very good chance of winning against Leeds United and potentially keeping a clean sheet as well. I think that's an easier game to predict. Some of the others are a bit more difficult. Spurs against West Ham, that could go either way. We know Spurs' form is a little bit patchy right now, but I can see goals for Spurs, potentially a clean sheet in there as well. When we look at the other fixtures, Aston Villa against Arsenal and Leicester against Brentford, can't see clean sheets in there, can see more lots of goals. I think it's better for attacking players than defensive players. So have a look through the fixture list when you get to a blank game week. Think about what you expect the scoreline to be at the end of the game, and that will help to dictate whether you buy attacking or defensive players from a certain team and which teams you invest in. I want to know your plans then for the current big blank game week 30. Are you going to be free hitting? Are you going to be using free transfers and taking a points hit? And who will you be bringing in? Do get in the comments. And if you've enjoyed this video, it'd be really helpful if you can drop a like and subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be back very soon with another video. All that's left for me to say is good luck for blank game week 30.